Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, goodwill, peace, and salutations to the hopeful elect. It's your brother Shamar Nayah, here again today with another lesson. And I basically want to go into, get into a lesson of the Great Judgment that is here to come to Babylon the Great. Well, really across the whole earth, but mainly here at Babylon the Great. And that's talking about them ICBM missiles, because ever since this truth has been came out, these Edomites being exposed, and this is on one of the major prophecies that has to come to pass, before we come into the kingdom, get into the kingdom, is the Jacob's trouble, the MLTLB, the mark of the beast, and then you have the Great Judgment, which is them ICBM missiles being shot off, hitting here Babylon the Great mainly, and over there in that land, because them people got to get flushed out, you see, and this is the the will of the Lord, actually, because as we get into the lesson, this is the Yahweh Shem Yahushua is doing, so I just want to play this video, and we're going to get a couple of precepts, and Lord's willing, this lesson is edifying. So without further ado,
what would happen if Iran dropped the most powerful nuclear bomb ever made on New York City? Would you survive? Now imagine it detonates above Midtown Manhattan. Within seconds, a fireball 2 miles wide erases everything instantly. The Empire State Building and Times Square are gone, and nothing remains. Not a tower, person, or homeless person survives. At 4 miles out, the blast wave levels everything in every direction. The Brooklyn Bridge collapses into the East River. Wall Street is destroyed, and every tunnel running under New York City caves in simultaneously. At 15 miles out, JFK Airport is wiped off the map, and the Statue of Liberty falls into the New Jersey River. Neighborhoods such as Bushwick and Jackson Heights are reduced to rubble in seconds. At 20 miles out, refineries along the New Jersey coastline explode, feeding firestorms that burn for weeks across the tri-state area. At 35 miles out, cities like Stanford and Long Beach suffer from windows shattering, buildings cracking, and entire neighborhoods lose power instantly.
Just take a look at the latest headlines coming out all across the news media outlets. America is preparing for nuclear war with Russia and China as a bombshell plan is leaked. Fears of global conflict are soaring. And again, you can see the date, Wednesday, August 5th, 2026. U.S. drafts new nuclear strategy in case of regional conflict with China and Russia. The Pentagon draws up new nuclear weapons strategy for war with Russia and China. Here's another one coming out from NBC News. Pentagon drafting a new U.S. nuclear strategy in case of a regional war with China or Russia. Sources are saying Pentagon eyes tactical nuclear shift to detour China and Russia without global escalation. This is all just starting to pour in today. The Pentagon is developing a new U.S. nuclear strategy in case of a regional war with China or the Russian Federation. And U.S. said to plan shifting nuclear strategy to China and Russia, coming out 11 hours ago. Now, this all comes as more than half of some of the U.S. weapons stockpiles used in the Iranian war, raising concerns about the Chinese threat. We're hearing strategically that the United States has lost a lot of its defense missiles, its arsenals, its munitions, and this is the ideal time for a potential conflict with the United States as we're running low. We're hearing these warnings coming out regarding China. Now, in addition to that, we're also hearing with the conflict with Iran that things are continuing.
I just want to pause it for a second. You see, as he mentioned in the video, he says that the U.S. is running out of arsenal. You see, and in the scriptures it tells you that all the beasts shall hate the horse. All these other nations, they're going to hate America, and they're going to send them ICBM missiles over here. to hit Babylon the Great, which is aka America. You see, so it's just all, tying into prophecy. Everything that the Lord said that will happen, it's being, furnished right in front of our faces. So you really can't deny prophecy that's in the scriptures, man. It's coming to pass in real time. You see.
Continuing on, and a new state has just been announced today hit by cyber attacks. New Jersey has been identified. 2 New Jersey municipal water systems targeted in cyber attacks. Iran remains the prime suspect in the cyber attacks, according to sources. And Iran used the water hacks to intimidate, not to cripple, experts are saying, sending a message to the United States regarding this conflict. But like I said, the main headlines coming out today is the concern as the Pentagon is releasing this information that they are beginning to focus on the potential for nuclear attacks, shifting specifically with concerns about conflict rising with Russia and China, and concerns about the United States' readiness for nuclear war.
What would happen if Iran dropped the most powerful nuclear bomb ever made on California? Would you survive? Let's imagine it detonated 2.5 miles above Los Angeles. Within seconds, a fireball, nearly 4 miles wide, forms everything below. Downtown LA, Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, erased instantly. No buildings, no people, nothing. At 5 miles out, the blast wave hits. Skyscrapers collapse. Highways twist apart. Cities like Inglewood and Glendale are flattened in seconds. At 15 miles out, entire cities vanish. Pasadena, Long Beach, and Anaheim are wiped off the map. At 25 miles out, the thermal pulse ignites everything from Riverside to San Bernardino. Homes, forests, and fuel stations burst into flames. At the same time, firestorms begin. At 50 miles out, fallout spreads across major regions. Cities like San Diego and Bakersfield are blanketed in radioactive dust as the mushroom cloud rises over 37 miles high. What would happen if Iran dropped the most powerful nuclear bomb ever made on Chicago? Would you survive? Now imagine a nuclear weapon detonates high above downtown Chicago. In less than 1 second, a blinding flash brighter than the sun lights up the entire city. People miles away can see it instantly. Within seconds, a powerful shock wave races outward through the loop. Windows shatter across downtown, and buildings closest to the blast suffer catastrophic damage. Minutes later, emergency services are overwhelmed as roads become blocked and communication networks begin to fail. Within a few miles of the explosion, severe destruction spreads across major parts of the city. Landmarks, businesses, and critical infrastructure could be heavily impacted. As the hours pass, hospitals throughout the Chicago region struggle to handle a massive number of casualties. Neighboring cities begin sending emergency resources. Air traffic is rerouted. Highways become crowded as people try to reach family members in safer areas. By the end of the first day, the economic impact is felt far beyond Illinois, affecting transportation, supply chains, and financial markets across the country.
You see, and that's what's coming. You see, and as the video, was going into that, they was explaining, just one city getting hit by one, and the scripture tells you that it's going to be millions of warheads over here, being sent over here. You see, so the first precept I'm gonna bring out is Isaiah 24 and 18. Let's get this real quick. Salakia. Con. This is Isaiah 24 and 18, and it reads, And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall fall into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare. For the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. And when it's talking about when it's going into the noise of the fear, that's referring to the ICBM missiles. That destruction that should have come. Another precept I can bring to back this up. It's like, let me see if I can open up another tab. Get Second Peter. 3 and 10. This is 2 Peter 3 and 10, and it reads, "But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise." You see, that great noise again being mentioned, talking about them ICBM missiles being shot off and hitting their designated targets. You see, and the elements shall and the elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. Basically meaning that once them ICBM missiles hit their designated target, everything within that vicinity is being melted up. You see, there's not going to be anything left here for remembrance. Everything is going to be, utterly desolate here. You see, and this is the judgment that's to come here on Babylon the Great. You know. Going back, let's get Isaiah 9 and 5. This is Isaiah 9 and 5, and it reads, "For every battle of the warrior is with a confused noise, and garments robed in blood." You see, so when it's talking about every battle of the warrior is with a confused noise, meaning back in the ancient world, wars they were fought with swords, shields, bows, horses and chariots that they rode, and they had battle cries. But let's finish on. But this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. So in today's world, we fight with guns, missiles, and that's what that confused noise means. That's what that burning and fuel of fire means. The missiles, the modern warfare arsenal and warfare, what the countries use today, which again is the missiles. You see, see if I can go back to Isaiah 24 and 18. Let's see if I can. 1 second, Slock, yeah. Just read it over again, and it reads. This is Isaiah 24 and 18, and it reads, "And it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear," talking about the destruction from the ICBM missiles, "shall fall into a pit." You see, and when it's talking about shall fall into a pit, that's talking about them elites, man. Those elites that built these bunkers, that's talking about them. A precept I can get to back this up is Isaiah 2 and 19. This is Isaiah 2 and 19, and it reads, "And they shall go into the holes of the rocks and into the caves of the earth for the fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty when he arises to shake terribly the earth." You see, that this is what the elites are planning to do. To go into these bunkers, and they're in their mind, they feel like after the destruction is done, they're gonna leave them bunkers and gonna rebuild. But that's not gonna happen. Because the scripture tells you that. Let's get Jeremiah 16 and 16. These elites, they're not gonna get away with or think that the judgment is gonna touch them. You see? It's like, yeah. Fine, this is it. This is Jeremiah 16 and 16, and it reads, "Behold, I will send many fishers, saith the Lord, and they shall fish them." And right now, this is talking about, the servants and prophets of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Right now, we are fishing for the elect. You see, that's our job right now. But as we continue on in this verse, it tells you what's going to happen to these fishers. And after, I will send many hunters. We're going to be turned into hunters, getting them new bodies, along with the spiritual powers, you see. And when we have that spiritual powers, this is what we're going to do to them. And they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill, out of the holes of the rocks. You see? So you elites, you can try and hide, but you're not going to get away from the men in the Lord that has those spiritual bodies, So you can try to hide, but best believe you're going to get ripped out of them bunkers, and you're going to be put into captivity. That's what's going to happen to you. You see. Let's see. I get Jeremiah 51:1. This is Jeremiah 51:1, and it reads, "Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that raise up against me a destroying wind." You see, that wind, that destroying wind is talking about the ICBM missiles. So my brain just froze. Talking about the ICBM missiles, and a precept to back this up is, let's see if I can. When you get Revelation 6, it goes into that as well. Revelation 6:12, and it reads, "And behold, and I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood." You see, and the suns, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. You see, that mighty wind and that destroying wind is talking about them ICBM missiles that's going to be shot off here. You see, that's the great judgment for Babylon the Great, aka America. When the Lord comes back and is ready to overthrow this kingdom and conquer, this place, America's going to be shot off and be hit with that thermonuclear fire, along with from the ICBM missiles, along with the concentrated laser beams coming down from the chariot. So this is what you people that aren't the elect. This is what you're going to have to face coming, man. And it's a very scary sight to know that this is going to happen, man. You see, let me see, going back to Revelation 6. I'm gonna go back to read 51, and it reads Jeremiah 51:1, and reads, "Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind." And to continue on, that destroying wind in this chapter is also talking about that blast radius from the ICBM missiles. You see, and as we seen in the video, from how he broke it down, how what happened when the ICBM missiles hit. It showed in multiple clips what's that the blast radius from the wind. You see. So next precept I'm gonna bring out is Revelation 7:1. So this is Revelation 7:1, and it reads, "And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree." You see, and the angels are holding back that 4 winds, meaning the destruction, that World War III, that's what's to come. You see. So I want to go back to Isaiah 24 and go to 19. So I can. Isaiah 24 and 19, and it reads, "And the earth is utterly broken down, the earth is clean, dissolved, the earth is moved exceedingly." You see? And the earth will be moved because, them ICBM missiles. But the earth, it's not going to end because when how in the movies they'll try to make it seem like once a nuclear fallout happened, that's the end of the earth, but that's not going to happen because the scripture says otherwise. When you get Ecclesiastes, let me see. I'm gonna just go to quick now. Ecclesiastes 1:4, and it reads, one generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abide forever. So the earth is not going to be utterly destroyed. That's not going to happen. Because again, as I stated before, in these Hollywood movies, they'll make it seem like once a nuclear war breaks out, that's the end of the earth. But that's not going to happen. As the scripture just said, the earth is abideth forever. You see. So going back to Isaiah 24 and 20, and it reads, "And the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgressions thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again." You see, and the earth is again will reel like to and fro like a drunkard because again those missiles being hit. It's going to be a massive destruction on this place, man. You see. Next precept I'm gonna bring out is go to 2nd Esdras 16 and go to verse. We'll start at 12. Just to fully bring the point out. This is 2nd Esdras 16 and 12, and it reads, "The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof, and the sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord, and before the glory of his power. For strong is his right hand that bendeth a bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss, when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world." You see, and I bring this out because that bendeth of the bow is talking about those silos. And the arrows also that's being mentioned is again talking about those missiles. You see, so all in the scriptures, it's telling you that what the future plan is here for Babylon the Great, which is aka America. This place is going to be utterly destroyed, man. So with that, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kakodash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. I hope this lesson was edifying. Until the next time, Shalom.